Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. It's your boy, George Reister in the building. Thank you guys for joining me today. Per the usual, I appreciate your time, appreciate your energy, and thanks for watching the Unafraid Show. And as always, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. Visit unafraidshow.com. Faith, family, fatherhood, food, and sports, where all those things intersect. We have an interesting topic up today because it all came out with, we're going to talk about two things. One, Rudy Gobert, he did not get voted to the All-Star team, and he was crying about it in an interview. Is that cool or is it not? And the people who joked about it, including Andre Iguodala, his teammate Isaiah Thomas, and Draymond Green, and a whole bunch of other people. And then also we're going to talk about domestic abuse, about why women get a pass for domestic abuse when at the end of the day it's domestic abuse. And the reason why this even came up is because Bow Wow was at the Super Bowl. Low Bow Wow, little CSI crime scene Bow Wow got arrested for domestic abuse. He looked like he got attacked by a pack of wild hyenas, and the girl looked unscathed. So we're gonna talk about that. So, but first, yeah, that Super Bowl was terrible, by the way. But I want to go back to Rudy Gobert. You guys swipe up, share the feed, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show, and send in your comments. I will get to them. So Rudy Gobert, a few days ago, the All-Star teams were announced for the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference and the NBA. LeBron James is the captain. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the other captain. And Rudy Gobert found out that he was not one of the reserves. And that made him upset. He was in an interview talking about how defensive players are slighted, all of this. And he got emotional. He started crying. And that prompted a response from people. And I want to know what you guys thought about it. Because he got snubbed from the All-Star game. Teammates, other players start making fun of him. And now that's going to go into the Gillette toxic masculinity bullying thing. But that's not where I want to go with it. Here is what I saw from Rudy Gobert. And I saw a person who cared, took pride in his work, defensive MVP, was frustrated and felt helpless. And he started crying in an interview. So the question is this okay? Like, are man tears okay? Because as a man, we've been taught, like from the time I was young, I remember everybody saying, listen, men don't cry, boys don't cry. I mean, but is that the truth? Is that the most healthy way to be living as a man? To say, oh, you're not tough if you cry, or you are tough if you don't cry. I completely do not subscribe to that theory at all. Here's what I do believe. I believe that crying for no reason, because that's what I tell my kid, crying for no reason is a problem. And what I mean by no reason, like you don't, because there's a different level of emotion for everyone. There are some men who emote a lot, and there are some men who don't. And what I say is this, is that the true strength in a man when it comes to tears and emotions and all this, it's not the fact that you don't get emotional or are emotionless. It's if you are able to deal with the bad things that happen in life or that may happen to you, you can get emotional about it. But the question is, here's where the strength is do you then let those things affect the rest of your life, affect your family, and all of that? Now, there's where the strength is. The strength is not in not crying. The strength actually is in what do you do with those emotions, and then how do you let them affect you? Because I remember Life Jennings. I remember I listened to his CD years ago, before he even became super popular, his first album. And he made a comment. He said, crying is like taking your soul to the laundromat. Like you get a chance to get all these things out. But our men were taught not to cry. That's actually the strength. But where's the strength in actually holding all these emotions in and then they explode later? Because I will tell you about me, about this guy, about George Reister. I'm a person, I probably went 10, 12 years without shedding a tear. Not even one in one part of my life. And I was like, oh boy, I'm strong. But in reality, like there were things that, of course, like everybody else, I would be upset about in life, and it would hurt my feelings, make me frustrated, irritated, any of these things. But what I would do is that I didn't even realize is that me holding these emotions in and not actually like saying things about it and getting it out, I was being passive aggressive. There are some people who are aggressive when they get upset, and there are some people that are passive aggressive. I was the passive aggressive guy. Not call, not show up, pretend like nothing's kind of wrong, but then I was going to show with my actions. Like even whether it was conscious or unconscious. And so when you hold those emotions in, it messes you up. And so you have to be able to take those emotions, be able to emote about it, and then be able to use those emotions for something better. So that goes back to Rudy Gobert, center for the Utah Jazz, defensive MVP. He was upset about not getting chosen for the All-Star game. I see why that's a little bit funny, because grown men up there crying on TV about it. But in reality, it just showed that how much it meant to him. Because there are some people, there's a book about the 5 love languages. And what is your love language? So Rudy Gobert's love languages, clearly acts of, well, not acts of service, but kind words and show of appreciation. Because an all-star game is a show of an appreciation for the hard work and dedication that you do to your job. But in reality, it's really a popularity contest. So that's where I'm just sitting up there like, okay, he is upset. And yeah, I didn't mind it. I actually did not like the fact that people came on like Isaiah Thomas, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green got on Twitter to criticize him. Because I think that it has to do, that all this has, that when you do that, when they did that, it sent the wrong message to our young men, our grown men who look up to these people and use them as beacons and examples of how they should live their life. We're talking about Rudy Gobert. You guys are watching The Unafraid Show, George Reister, and Man Tears. So it sends the wrong message to our young kids and our men, because it's like, oh, ha ha ha, he's upset about that. Nah, but in reality, it's cool. He should be upset. He did get snubbed. Would I be crying on TV? Probably not. But I don't see anything wrong with it. And I think that when we teach our kids to criticize people for showing emotion, for being honest and transparent about things, I think that we create a bad culture. I think that we create a culture of secrets. I think that we create a situation where people have to suffer in silence. And we all know how that goes. We all know how that goes, because it never turns out well now. So this goes back to something I was talking about our other video about. It's about manhood and the thing that we teach our people about. Oh yeah, that's a good comment that just came in. The most common phrase is "stop being a bi," which makes no sense. I would totally agree with that. So you're not acting like a man. You're acting like a female. You're acting like a woman because you showed some emotion. What kind of stupidity is that? What kind of stupidity is that? That you're not a man because you showed some emotion. Because I'll tell you this. As a man with my family, my children, they haven't seen me cry too many times. However, I think that it's important that your children know that dad, yes, that sometimes he gets upset. Not just mad, but that his feelings are hurt sometimes. He's disappointed, any of those things. Because then kids learn to actually put a pinpoint on emotions. Because anger is not a first emotion. Anger is a secondary emotion. And what I mean by anger is a secondary emotion is you're not angry. Like anger comes from either being disappointed, frustrated, comes from actual pain, it comes from a different emotion. Because anger is a reaction. So that's why we always have to figure out what the underlying cause of somebody's anger is. Because if you see a kid acting out in school and he's being angry and displaying those things at school, why is that? Could he be being abused at home? Could he be seeing all type of stuff? Could he be being sexually abused? All of these things potentially add up to it. He could feel worthless because he can't read or these things are difficult for him. And so that's why I say anger is a secondary emotion. So we have to learn as men and teach our men what the actual first emotion is so that we can deal with it in a good way. And so as it comes to Rudy Gobert, I thought the dudes who made fun of him were pretty lame. And I thought that they perpetuated a thing that we have going in society that is completely wrong. I think it is completely wrong. I think it makes no sense. I mean, we just have to do better than this. If we are ever to have healthy men, healthy black men, healthy white men, healthy Asian men, because if we teach our men that crying is weak and that the actual strength is not in the holding in of the emotion, it's what you actually do after you feel those emotions. That you actually should feel those emotions, know what those are. That way then you can understand how those negative emotions, being upset, frustrated, hurt, any of those things, affect the rest of your decisions. So then you don't go and make poor decisions. You don't go cheat on your wife. You don't go commit a crime. You don't go talk to people poorly. You don't get distant from your family. You don't do any of those things because you understand and know what's going on. Come on in, man, if somebody's listening. Next thing we got up on Unafraid Show today is we're going to talk about Bow Wow. Bow Wow got arrested in Atlanta, but again, it's bigger than him. It's bigger than him. This is about women domestic abusers who are overlooked. And the reason why this needs to be talked about is because it's not just because the Me Too movement, because men are being talked about for their abuse and harassment and any of that. No, the reason why this needs to be talked about is because there is a pass given to women abusers and women who commit domestic violence because they say, oh, she can't hurt you as bad. She was upset. It's understandable. No, it's not understandable. Like, relationships have to be a hands-off policy. She can't domestically abuse you. You can't domestically abuse her. Like, these are the things because these things escalate. And I know as a man, I've been hit by a woman. I've been hit in the face by a woman, been hit in the face by a man, been all of these things. And there's nothing more upsetting in the whole world to me than getting touched in my face. Like, that's a real way to ignite a firestorm. And so we look at these things and as a man, when I've been in that situation, I have not wanted to call the police. I have not wanted to report it or tell anybody about it because it's kind of embarrassing. I'm a big, strong guy. I don't want to call the police and be like, oh, my girlfriend hit me. She stabbed me with a knife. She threw a knife at me. She did X, Y, and Z. I didn't want to go tell anybody that because that's embarrassing, and I thought it made me look bad as a man. So you don't have to necessarily call the police on anybody all the time. However, the reality is that these things are not okay. And the excuse of, oh, he cheated on me. I was mad. I was hurt. He came home too late. He did this. He did that. Are not, we cannot in any way allow these things to continue. Really, really think about that. Because I asked my 12-year-old son about it. We have some real discussions. Because it was somebody who was in the news, and the lady had attacked him, and then he responded. And I asked my son, I said, okay, so should the woman get the same punishment as the man for this domestic abuse? My son said, no, like it's different. I was like, why though? Like, why is it different what she did to him? Why is it different? If he domestically abuses her, than if she domestically abuses him. He said, well, dad, because she can't hurt him. And I said, how does that make sense? I said, so just because she can't hurt you, does that mean that what she did is acceptable? And he thought about it. And I said, okay, so if you hit a woman, if I hit a woman, then we could be going to jail, lose our job, all of these things. However, if she hits you or me, most people would turn a blind eye to it. Why would we turn a blind eye to this? Because as a comment came in and said, it's not an excuse. However, a lot of domestic abuse situations that I know of that have happened with other athletes, that have happened in other situations that I'm close to. I'm not talking about and a lot of times there is some abuse on both sides, but it's only punished on one side. This is not to excuse those men, because those men definitely need to be punished. But we can't allow a culture, especially Me Too, everybody's equal, fair treatment, fair punishment. These are the way things have to be, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense why we would allow our men to be abused, our kids to be abused, anybody, and chalk it up as, oh, she's a woman, it's okay, it didn't hurt that bad. Come on in, man. I mean, really think about that, because Bow Wow got arrested in Atlanta. I don't know what he did to her, but just from the mugshots, he looked like he got attacked by a pack of wild hyenas. She looked unscathed. Don't know what she looked like from the neck down. And the police said in their report that they don't know who started it. He had visible marks. She may or may not have marks, so they arrested them both for battery. I mean, because really think about it. If I call the police and say a woman hit me, and she did, and then when they get there, she says, oh, she hit me too, we're both going to jail probably. But if it's the other way around, I'm going to jail, she's not going to jail. I mean, come on. Like, we have to admit and know and be perfectly honest about these things. Because if we don't, stuff goes left. You guys are watching The Unafraid Show. George Reister here. I appreciate your time. Appreciate your energy. There was another athlete that I wanted to talk about who did get in a little bit of trouble, because I know that she's going to be brought up in the comments, which is Hope Solo. Hope Solo, she's beautiful, goalie for the U.S. women's national team. She's fantastic, but she's a domestic abuser. She is, proven, all the accounts. But then she gets suspended for a little while, and then she gets to come back and play. But had a man done exactly what she did, it would be a big ass problem. I mean, like a major league problem, like he can't work again. So why do we look at these things as differently? Why do we give people excuses? Why would we give women excuses to be domestic abusers? Don't make no sense to me. You guys are listening to The Unafraid Show. George Reister here. You guys, I appreciate your time. Appreciate your energy. Today, we got all into domestic abuse by women, why it is overlooked, and man tears, and all of that. You guys, make sure you swipe up, share the feed, tell a friend about The Unafraid Show, all type of great things. Let me make sure we don't have any comments. that I didn't miss out on any comments? And then if so, we will hop out and I will catch you guys later. Make sure to share.